Okay. Okay. Hi, good evening, everyone. So we are live on YouTube, and I am Ankhee over there. Is Ankhee?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, yeah.
Please tell. Yes. Mhm.
So we can start now. I'm just going to give a small introduction. So this is a part of your continuous series on creating awareness on parental alienation. So this is our fifth webinar in the series. I'm very happy to have Ankhee, who's a counselor and a stress management expert from Kolkata, and she has introduced the concept of counseling in various institutions involving parental and the students. And she has experience over a decade, who's been counseling children, parents, and teachers. And she's also visiting faculty, the counseling course, which is affiliated to the Kolkata University, and also the council or directorate of the security government of West Bengal. It's a big pleasure and honor for having experienced faculty for our this program. Zanki, please take
Thank
care of
you.
the. Yeah, thanks a
Thank
lot.
you so much. Thank you so much. And a warm welcome to everyone, of course. I am a counselor by profession. And as Sir already mentioned, I have been associated with various educational institutions as a counselor. So I have got the opportunity of interacting with children for over a decade of various schools, and let's say at times they were hostel dwellers, and they had their own behavioral issues, academic issues, family issues, everything. And I run my own chamber as well, where I do my private practice, where as well I have come across children of various age groups, covering adults, adolescents, school going, like toddlers, everybody. So, to start off with, as a psychologist, where we mostly look into the psychological aspect more than, let's say, any other issue which is prevalent, I would say when we talk of parental alienation, if you see, these terms don't actually sit well beside each other, if I'm not wrong, because where the word parental is concerned, it is something which is very, very grounded, very connected. You feel home. Your parental, you're talking of your parents, you're talking of something you're most comfortable with, you should be etymologically. And when I talk about alienation, well, it has a kind of negative connotation, if I'm not wrong, where we talk of something being separated, something being alienated. So parental alienation, these two things, according to me, may not be very natural, but unfortunately this is the scenario, the present day situation, the circumstances are such where the little ones are being robbed of their childhood in a massive way, wherein they have so many things in their mind, so many things to share, so many things to even speak about. They feel, they know, they acknowledge, they comprehend well, and at the same time they don't get an opportunity to surface those. Either there is a crisis which is pretty evident, or we might just shun off the child, not acknowledging the pain of the child. So here I would like to draw your focus towards something very, very important. No matter how big the child is, whatever is the age of the child, irrespective of that, every child has a way of responding towards any issue. Even when you were children, you had your specific ways, there were patterns, right, in which you would exhibit anger or happiness or any kind of response. Reaction would speak a lot about you. When children witness that, let's get into the topic, where we see that. Also, I would want to ask Dr. Natesh, if everything is like I'm audible, visible, if you can just give me a cue.
Yes, yes, it's fine, audible. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes. So what happened was, I'll tell you, I'll share my experience first and then we'll continue. So when I joined I maybe counseled at 7 to 8 schools at a time. At a time where weekly, twice a week, I was addressing the students. Okay. So initially, people came up to me. First of all, counseling is still stigmatized. Okay, people don't like talking of mental health very easily. Even adults don't. They say, "I'm not mad. Why do I need counseling?" And when I joined schools, the first thing I had to hear was, "Why would children come to you? I mean, what kind of problems do they have? Let them study. Let them play." I started my journey, and when I would write down the case study, I would jot down the cases. I would just feel there is so much they have inside them. So there are families where the child is considered the last, the least, and their emotions are not addressed. Two people getting married might have a discord, might have issues. Post marriage, of course, it is surfaced, it is evident. There can be maladjustment issues, coexisting becomes a threat. Agreed to it. As we all know, who suffers the most? Of course, the families do, these two people themselves. It takes a toll on them mentally as well, for sure. And if they are childless, it's a very different kind of picture what we carve out of it. And if they have a child attached or children attached, you do not have an idea unless you sit and talk to the child in privacy. The child goes through an array of negative emotions, and trust me, let me also tell you, at times it turns psychosomatic, which means it affects their health as well. So from a live case study, of course concealing the identity, this was a 13-year-old boy, and every day during his, maybe after recess or during his maths class, English class, he would say, "My stomach is paining, my stomach is paining. I cannot bear the pain. I need to go back home." And when the doctor, he visited the doctors and everything was fine. There was no issue in the gut health. Everything was fine. And then he was counseled, and then, he of course spoke to his teachers. We all supported him, and we got to know that he is going through a stressful situation at home, where he is exposed to violence in form of verbal abuse, physical abuse between the parents, that is. And from that point, his health started giving up. Trust me, again, physically there was nothing. The rise in cortisol, the hike in the level of stress again hits human body, and he was a victim, let me use the word here, of the same. And till the time everything was going good in the family, he did not even complain of fever. He was so fit. So children have various ways of exhibiting their emotions. They don't channelize it the way maybe we do as adults, but it comes out later. Most of the times it is seen, it comes out later through their behavior, through their activity, of course through their performance as well. Also, there are studies which tell us that child brain, it's so palpable, it's growing, right? It's so fertile at the same time. Even a test, of course, says, well, I do not exactly have the statistics with me in hand now, but not one, numerous tests have ended up saying that the amygdala, which is the seat of emotion, it turns hyperactive when the parents have a discord and child witnesses it, for a very long time. The child, of course, there is lack of confidence. The child feels, "I am not acknowledged, appreciated enough, because everyone in the family is fighting his or her own battle." Of course, parents try to put up with various things around. They would want to support the child. They would make up for the loss, after a big quarrel, telephonic, or after meeting up and, having some kind of fight. They try to make up for the loss, buying the child something, playing with the child, but the damage is already done. And the amygdala here, the seat of emotions, as I said, is so hyperactive now. It develops in such a way, wherein the child cannot process many things. For example, let's say they cannot distinguish between a perceived threat and a real life threat. They easily get jittery. They have mild anxiety issues. Okay, and then we put that particular child under a lot of pressure, saying, "You have to study, you have to get marks, you don't have to look at things around you." You just go ahead with whatever we have told you to. Well, it's never that easy. He or she is absorbing a lot from the environment, right? The child any day will give you a glimpse into what is happening has at his end if you sit with him or her. Take out quality time. You don't have to be a therapist for this, a child counselor for this. If you sit with a child who's going through this, if I call it a crisis, there's so much to say. There's so much of deprivation. There is so much of internal, comparison with other friends who might have a very different gifted family setup. So these are the ways in which a child by us is kind of, should I say, mentally harassed. And definitely to prioritize that, in order to put the child in the focus, we need to acknowledge, okay, there are other damage areas, but what about his mental health or her mental health? That's questionable. Some children, as we say, are very smart. They cope up with the issues happening around very easily. So, they are very, very clear. There's a lot of clarity in thoughts. All children do not respond in a similar way. So they are sorted, they are clear, so full of clarity. They know what is their next step. They know, okay, this is the issue at home, or this is what my parents are currently going through, and this is how I need to go about. There are children of this sort as well. There are other children, most of them, let me also inform you that for them reality is ambiguous. Of course, there are trust issues. I have counseled parents who'd come and tell me, no, no, my child doesn't understand anything. He mostly sleeps when we have a quarrel or we are on the verge of separation. But my child doesn't know much because it's my mother who takes care of my child, or he is into some daycare, whatever it is. Trust me, when we sit with the child individually, the child has an absolutely different narrative where there is a lot of awareness, where the child exactly knows what is happening at the parents' end, what exactly is going to come, and he's not properly sensitized at home either. Thinking he's so small or she's so small. We don't have to give him or her all sorts of explanation. The day we need to, we will see to it. But the child is somewhere is prepared, of course misguided, and at the same time this leads to a lot of confusion. So you might want the best out of them. At the same time, you're not offering the best to them where they can come out with, utilization of their potential, being confident. And as I already told you, that there is a lot of peer pressure, and depending on that also they start withdrawing themselves. So one thing I found in very which was very common in most cases, where parents are undergoing such issues, and the case has again reached the court, where children have shown withdrawal syndrome and they are not as they were earlier. I mean, as active, or even if they are active, there is something called conduct disorder where their behavior is impacted in such a way, is affected in such a way that within a few days or within a few months, you will exactly pinpoint something is wrong with him. He was better earlier. So now what happens is our role, then we step in and we'll exactly tell you what is our job here. We don't hold biases as counselors, right? We are absolutely neutral. Someone with whom the child has not been previously associated with. So it's not a favorite teacher or an aunt or anyone from either sides. It is someone you've not known, doesn't get friendly with you, is of course professional, but knows how to go down or come up to your emotional level and talk to you. And in counseling, what happens is things are absolutely confidential. So it is not kind of getting to know the grievance of the child and then complaining it elsewhere. No, it is not that way. What exactly happens here is, of course, we help in proper channelization of that energy, of course, positively helping the child to look at things and navigating the session accordingly. That's what we have done over the years. Any child counselor will give you a good glimpse into it. And with the passage of sessions, the child regains confidence. Yes, there is a difference. It's not that I can't depend on my parents or they are busy, I cannot share things with them, so I'm sharing it with my counselor. It's nothing of that sort. It is an unadulterated platform, absolutely. I use the word because here you are with someone where you can open up, you can be your best, you can, of course, speak of the issues, your achievements, your grievances, and we can go ahead accordingly, which is very important. Unfortunately, this is the good part to the story. Unfortunately, what is the adverse effect? Many parents do not encourage the child being counseled. So it has happened with me in the schools as well, where the teacher could pinpoint which child exactly needs counseling and might have issues or is disturbed. And counselors do call the child to their own separate room or chamber within the school premises, of course, where the child develops a good rapport and starts sharing about the parents' divorce case or the issues going on there. But the parents get to know, and at times, not always, some are really supportive. Many of them would not want the child to go ahead with the sessions. And we have also received written statement like, no, we know what is best for our child, so we'll decide. We don't need your help. Thank you so much. If there is any academic issue, we can come and tell you, but please don't get into our family issues. Well, no one wants that. All we want is the betterment, the well being of your child. That is it. But again, when we are discouraged, then of course our hands are tied. Our hands are tied where we would want to help. Let's say we would want to guide, assist, but we're not given that power to. Power is a very heavy word here. We're not even given the access to meet the child further. It's not just me. I speak on behalf of many child counselors whom even I have come across in my career. So, this is a problem, I think, with not just the schools where I have visited. Most of the educational institutions, of course, today they are promoting the concept of counseling, but at the same time, the response coming from the parents or the grandparents, sometimes there is no awareness, let's say. Even when we say it as a simple talk therapy, well, there is no medicine prescribed, and it's not important that your child needs to have some mental health disorder only to visit us. Nothing of that sort. You just talk. That is it. Come, talk, spend time with us. Maybe you take a few minutes, skip that particular period if possible, and we can have sessions. But again, we are not encouraged in any way. So that is a kind of a very, very, very delicate point where we, again, as I said, would offer help, but we cannot. This child, what happens to him? What do you think happens to him or her? Anyone, please? Cannot talk to us, cannot open up at home. Anyone, can you please tell me that what happens to the child then? Please unmute yourself and just give me an answer. According to you, what do you think happens to the child?
The
Maybe the
child
child is
gets
confused.
Thank you.
lifetime trauma. The child will have trust issues. The child will have issues related to starting his own family. The child will have peer pressure. He compares himself with others. Why I'm not having the same privilege as other kids? And
Absolutely.
this wound that happens to the child's psyche will remain for the rest of his lifetime, which is very difficult to cure in the later ages.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Absolutely well said. It is irreparable damage. As you said, there are various issues at an individual level for sure, at a social level. And this child then grows up again to be a human being with a lot of suppressed emotions. Just imagine. Where he actually wanted to open up or she wanted to open up, but actually was not given a chance because the parents somewhere thought, why counseling? You're not mad. You don't have to go for a therapy session. Come on, do your classes now. So that is what exactly you could locate. Thank you so much. And yes, whatever a point the gentleman has just mentioned, that's what the child exactly goes through. And he or she is stuck in a loop, can't even come out. I found a person where I could share and open up. Well, that now is also blocked. And someone also wrote in the chat box, the child, yes, shuts down, emotionally shuts down. You are adults. If you have a day which is not in your favor, wouldn't you also, you would open up, right? You would look for a friend. If you don't have friends, you would just maybe journal it somewhere, or you would want to talk. I've also seen people writing about it on social media and spreading awareness. So we all have our coping mechanism, ways of handling reality, or a rough day, or any incident at home, whatever has happened. If it has taken a toll on you, you would, come on, adopt some measure, some way or the other, in wherein you could rechannelize your energy and keep yourself safe. What about a child? He has no access of going out, meeting people, home to say how to start. When he comes at that zone, the low vibrating parents who are, deeply delved into the issues they are facing at a personal level, maybe at times they acknowledge the pain, at times they also are, quote unquote, the word which parents often say, helpless. What will the child do? So child is in a fix, and that, it blurs the way your cognition, let's say, overall. The way you look at things now is undergoing a change. See, if you are in yellow lenses, you will see the world which is yellow, right? So that's what happens to the child. And then it also attacks the very, very concept of trusting people. Trust me. Trust becomes a major issue here. The child doesn't know anything, doesn't know law, okay, doesn't know parental alienation concept, doesn't has not heard the word maybe, doesn't know psychology, knows only love, and is being loved by the parents two different ways. There is so much, parental inconsistency. The child is now confused what to do and whom to follow. And therein, they are strugglers for life. Now, you might have seen where parents got separated. I mean, they're divorced. Child grows up to be some successful person in the society. Non-custodial parent, I can feel his anxiety. Right, right. Your son cries. Thank you so much. It takes a lot to come up on a public platform and acknowledge this pain. Thank you so much for the answer. So we see the successful man after years, and he might have said that, my parents got divorced when I was 8 or 10. And you read his success story. You're very happy reading about him, right? You don't know the struggles he's been through. I will bring in a small point here, which is very interesting, right? If I'm so sorry to compare. If I mean any offense to anyone, I'm really sorry in advance. I apologize. I have heard it from a child. That's why I tell you. If a child is an orphan, people come and often sympathize. Oh, you've lost your mother. Don't worry. Call me whenever you want to. If you've lost a father, okay, don't worry. I'm there. I'm your uncle. I'll come whenever you need me. This happens. But if the child has parents who have divorced, many people don't come forward to help, to extend any kind of affection. The reason is his parents are there. If we overdo, they will not take it in a good way. So, the child doesn't need sympathy in any way. But as I said, that acknowledgement here is also missing. The reason is he has parents or she has parents already. So what if they're not living together? So we can't go ahead and spend time much or relate to the issue, relate to the child, and look for his holistic development. We are nobody here. Whenever, as you said, someone mentioned, my child cries. And remember, this cry is a very different cry. This cry is not the cry where I got, 40% instead of 60. This is not that cry. Here, the crying is more of a deep emotional venting. That is what happens here. So in this scenario, in this situation, in this sensitive stage where you have issues, the child is fighting issues at a personal level, and at the same time he's being told, you study as well, you need to perform and show us. So what if we have a case? And at the same time we do not acknowledge his or her pain. What are we doing? What are we doing? What life are we gifting the child? But mind you, the child is so well dressed. He or she has a good cap, a good attire, everything good, nice shoes. Yes, please. Yeah. So everything is so proper at the surface level. Depression and anxiety, yes, they do. Depression and anxiety for sure, if you've mentioned it, yes, of course. And why so? What could be the reason behind this? That even if he's a good dancer or a singer, I have seen it in my career, trust me, they at times stop all these things. They do not want to nurture their skills, talents, whatever. This happens a lot. Okay. Right. Just a second. A little bit of my focus towards the chat box. You all can give it a read, please. Yes, how mild intellectually disabled daughter of 22. Okay. Okay. Yes, I'll come to it. Hmm. Yes. Another kind of anxiety, because you've taken the word anxiety. I would also draw your attention towards something which is separation anxiety. It happens, when children go to the school for the first time, someone getting married and going to the in-laws for the first time, changing the city and going to a new city for job for the first time. Many people suffer from separation anxiety, where you're out of your comfort zone and it takes time for you to adapt to the situation. Similar with children, when they have lived with a set of their parents or maybe their grandparents at the same time, and there is a discord after which there will be a decision where you have to choose one of us, or rather one of us will be with you, the other will not be with you regularly. There is separation anxiety. There is another thing which is selective mutism. Yes, at home the child talks a lot, and when he goes to a social gathering, he doesn't know what to say. He just keeps shut. He doesn't even mention his name on being asked. This is selective mutism because you're filtering your response. You don't know how to react in that situation. You are underconfident. And so you withdraw yourself. Socially, you don't want to go to a gathering, even if your mother is motivating you. Come on, I am there. Why don't you join me? There are issues going on internally, and the child is not very confident. Reverse alienation, also in many cases. Yes, yes, yes. Definitely for sure. Definitely for sure. There is. But at the same time, it's very important to acknowledge. Why don't you sign on my school calendar? Okay. Unfortunately, I'm blocked from participating in his school activities. Okay. The gentleman writes to us. If you have no problem, I would please read it publicly. Um, right. School activities also, they're also your barred. So, you know what exactly happens here? Your child, even if he's actively participating, has given his name to the teacher to be there. This is somewhere in the subconscious mind. My father, or my parent rather, could not come and see me on stage today, and this remains. This is like a fresh wound which turns into a scar someday, and emotionally it's there somewhere. It is there. He might or she might not always speak of it, always mention it, but at the same time, we have, of course, seen that it does affect and stays in the mind for a long time. Because you cannot give them reasons, okay, my office did not allow, oh, I'm busy, this, that. They exactly know the reason. They might not be of your age or equally matured, but they know what exactly was holding you back. So these are the ways and the reasons exactly why I would say, as to children are the worst sufferers. But again, does that at all mean, what would you say? Parents will not get divorced or parents will not have issues. Can we just have a picture perfect family?
Yeah.
What could be the way out? How would you tell? You tell me, what do you feel? Anyone, please. Anyone, please. That's amazing. That's some awareness because you went to the family court, you got to know about it. Yes. And as I told you, at times it's a birth related defect, any kind of ailment, or it could be a psychological impact for a very long time. Anyone
Yeah.
else, please, who would just give me an idea here? Yes, please.
Yeah, ma'am. So, as I was mentioning it on the chat box also, so the child is going through a lot of stress and trauma, primarily because the child is not able to express himself. What
Zian, 1
happens?
minute. Zian, your voice very low, Zian.
If,
Can
if
you
you
hear
could
me now?
please, yes.
Yeah.
A little louder, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is it better?
Yes,
Now it is better.
it is.
Okay. Yeah. So coming back to your question, as I said, the child is in a lot of trauma and anxiety. The child is not able to express himself primarily because the child is caught in a tug of war between the parents who are, you know, again, as I said, trying to make a presence in their child's life. So one parent is constantly blocking the access of the child, wherein the parent wants to make a meaningful presence. I mean, it's more to do with the ego that is being driven, which is again causing a lot of damage to the child. Studies, in fact, do suggest that there are reforms that are required. There's a lot of awareness that is required because such children, who grow up in certain environments wherein there's a lot of coercive control, we regard them as children of a lesser god. There are
Mm-hmm.
issues, as I said, and there is data that surrounds it. So 55% of them actually suffer from anxiety and depression. 40% of them, have suicidal tendencies. There's a
Yes, of course they
majority of
do. Because
them.
I'll just interrupt you because of identity crisis. Most of the times this happens. What am I doing here? That's the question. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Primarily, also, if you have a male child, they again pick up bad habits. They get influenced by alcohol or smoking at an
Oh,
early
yes,
age.
substance abuse is so common. I was just going to come to it for sure. Yes, absolutely. And we witness that most in, let's say, children who are around 14, 15, because, at this point, they have an access to even going out. At
Absolutely.
times, it is tutorial classes, it could be a friend's birthday. And then you use it maybe as an access to socializing, over socializing, wherein you don't know what is good and bad for you, and you just can look smart, you look trendy, you want to post pictures on social media, and your company matters. Substance abuse, of course, is very common at this stage for sure. And as you said, yes, every point of it, the data you were providing, as for, let's say, anxiety, depression, various things. And as I said, most of it goes unacknowledged because of the age factor, because people still feel children might not have depression. उसको क्या depression है? His or her life is so good. I have given him or her enough money to survive. He has so many friends in the apartment. Why should he be depressed? Well, there is something deep down eating him up. That is the reason, of course. And to add, again, a little legal aspect to it, if I was to cover, though I'm not a law person, like I have no connection with the law in any way, I'm a psychologist, I would still bring in a factor wherein when the child is being asked, at a point, this is my personal, should I say, suggestion, rather opinion, or a little plea. When the child is being asked, with whom would you want to stay? We often do not check the background. First question, is the child grown up enough to take such a big decision and decide accordingly? The concept of welfare and well being for the child, if it is clear or ambiguous, that's very important. Or there has been a lot of one sided information which the child has been filled with, and the responses are tailored accordingly. The child must have a voice and not a choice. Thank you so much for this line. Yes, absolutely. And in order to have that voice, if going ahead, counselors, proper child counselors are appointed, wherein the child again goes through counseling, not just the parents who are going through, I mean, undergoing that divorce procedure legally. The child, it can be made mandatory. Come on, it will not at all affect in an adverse way for sure. Can undergo counseling sessions. It is not to divert his attention, make him feel strong, please. It is also to surface his emotions at the same time. Because psychologists have their own way of working, the judiciary has its own way of working. We all are professionally equipped and skilled to do what we are supposed to do. When it comes to a child, his decision making, his way of going about and presenting something, a child counselor's role gets mandatory here. Why so? If without holding biases, being very neutral, if someone is to assess your answers, then why not? So if that can be incorporated in any way, well, I said it's just a plea. We can dream of 10 things, and this is maybe one of those, where a child counselor gets to meet the child during that time, and you won't even believe things will change in various ways. This is only and only not to stop the divorce. This is for the betterment of the child in various ways, like uh, blocking the access to non-custodial parent. Yes, schools play a very important role here, sir. Schools play a very important role here, right? Not by identifying the child and saying, oh, he has issues at home, please, nothing detrimental to his mental health. But of course, by acknowledging the fact that this child, yes, he or she needs attention, and that attention has to be channelized again in a very positive way. Attention here is not sympathy. Yes, at times, yes. Sorry to say this, but again, what you mentioned in the chat, yes. Educational institutions, schools, or tutorial homes, caregiving or centers have a very, very important role to play. As I said, not just by sympathizing with the child or saying, oh, this is the tragedy. Oh, we are like your parents. Don't worry. We are there to help you. Child doesn't need this from you, please. The child needs a lot of confidence, which will come from you, which will reflect in his or her personality. So, as I said, it is the role of the counselors. It is the role of the educational institution. It is the role of the educational institution not to sympathize with the child, but to associate with him or her in a positive way. That's very, very important. So yes, we are running short of time. A few of you have mentioned things in the chat box. So we would go by that. I just will stop here with my narrative.
Thank you
If
so much.
there's any question.
Yeah. So we'll wait for the second speaker now, and we'll take the Q&A by the end. Once everything is done. So it was a wonderful session, Ankhee, because we got a lot of real-time insights from you, and it was very nice to see participants engaging, they sharing their views.
It's really nice of them. I'm very sorry I could not actually go through every statement in the chat box. That is.
No, we have noted it. Main thing is that this is what a psychologist does, right? They make people open up. Not like people open up, they just share things over there. It was quite nice, very nice, very nice.
But
so that is
definitely, I would just request if they have queries, they can just get in touch with me through you so that I can individually answer them.
Definitely. Yeah, because it's an open invitation, and you can be in touch with Ankhee also. Wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So yeah, so next session we are having Mr. Arijit Mitra. Hi, sir. I'm muting for you, please.
Hi.
So very known figure among us. Hi, sir.
Yes,
so a lot of sweets behind. Is it a shop or home? Home. Okay.
No, I'm sitting in a cafe shop, and hi, Ankhee. I'm talking to you after a long time.
Good evening to you. Yes. Hope you're doing well. Sure.
Take care. Yes.
Take care.
So among the Parental Alienation circle, he is quite known person. His work is very significant, and he has been instrumental in making the guidelines to be rules, because we have multiple rules across 2 or 3 cities: Mumbai, Bangalore, and Haryana, Punjab. I think, and I believe Calcutta is the first state High Court where the guidelines shared parenting had made into rules now. And I invite him. He's a tax consultant and a lawyer. He's a founder trustee of Ayushman Initiative of Child Right, which was born out of his own personal challenges. And now I can see he's with his beloved son, and he's been in touch with now. Very positive note we are starting now. And we all welcome you, sir, to share your insights on the Calcutta High Court guidelines and rules, and how we can utilize it for our future. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. You see, I'm a very optimistic person, and from all the tunnels and the darkness, I always see the light at the end of it. So I do not get bowed down, by circumstances in my professional field and my personal field also. So my message to every one of you is, everything is not pessimistic. So you can always see the light at the end of the tunnel. however tough it might be, yes, the roads are not same for everyone. Now, coming to this guideline, what made me think about it was I found that if you have to change a system, it's no use just grumbling about it, complaining about it, crying about it, and just sharing your cryness, your abuses, and all your negativities.
സംവിധാനമാണ് കേരള സവാരി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ആപ്പ്. ആ ആപ്പിനോടും അനുമതി വാങ്ങാൻ വേണ്ടിയുള്ള നിർദ്ദേശം ഗതാഗത വകുപ്പ് നൽകിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപേക്ഷ നൽകാൻ
in the social media, etc. So, to change a system, you will have to be within the system and change it. So, accordingly, I thought that we should have some guidelines which are enforceable. As everybody knows, there is a guideline. There was a guideline, a general guideline, which was just recommendatory in nature, and some courts were following it, some courts were not following it religiously. So, what is the difference between that and this guideline? Is that this guideline is more comprehensive. It gives more teeth to tackle the nuisance of parental alienation, which is very important. It tries to tackle something which is called the contempt of court orders. And this has been made into a rule, as Doctor has already commented. The High Court already has the power to make rules under the GWA Act, which they have strangely not invoked so many years. And nobody thought about it. That's very strange that no one thought about it. So many lawyers practicing on this matter, so many professional consultants here, so many intellectuals in the matter subjects, so many PhD lawyers in law, etc., in the universities. Nobody thought about a simple thing that it should be made into a rule. So ultimately, that is the salient feature of this guideline, is that this is a rule. So once this is formed, I think this can show the way for the rest of the country and for the rest of the high courts. In fact, we are already working in Karnataka. It's advanced in a lot of stages, in a very advanced stage. And also we are moving into the other courts also. And I believe that at least 6 or 7 courts by next 5 years will be able to do this. So on this note, I give the mic back to you.
Thank you so much for your explanation, sir. So we understood this is all the enforceable guidelines.
Yes.
So other courts cannot use this as a reference model for.
They can use as a persuasive. They can use it as a reference, of course, and as a persuasive model. But they cannot enforce it right now. Just seeking this reference. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to put this into the other courts, and probably we have also there's a major break we have made, is that we met the Joint Secretary of the Government of India, Ministry of Women and Child Development last week. I was in Delhi with one of my colleagues, and we have talked to the Joint Secretary because we have made them a party into the PIL in Karnataka. So once the Government of India is able to issue the guidelines, we have also given them our Calcutta High Court guidelines and handed them over our suggestions for the Karnataka High Court to make the work much faster. The next date of that court proceedings is on December 15th. So we'll see what reply they give to us. They have taken our numbers and we have volunteered to help them pro bono to make this guideline for the Government of India. So once the Government of India submits this into Karnataka for the state of Karnataka, we will plead further to the Supreme Court to make this applicable to the whole courts.
Okay. Any legal step to the parents where there are no guidelines or enforceable things in the courts? How do you see that?
There are a lot of high courts which have no enforceable guidelines. Like in Odisha, it's not there. In Jharkhand, it is not there. In a lot of other places, Jammu and Kashmir, it's not there. Only 5 or 6 high courts have made it just recommendatory. But if you make RTIs, you will find that most of the trial courts do not follow these guidelines, and they are not enforceable. So nothing happens out of it. So now we have set up a monitoring team for Calcutta and for West Bengal, where we are now studying how they are using this guidelines, how the aggrieved the parties, they can be both fathers and mothers, they are using this, and what is the outcome they are facing, and what the the response from the judges of the trial courts to these guidelines. I'm sure that they will not like it and they will go after us in the long run, in the sense that they will not like this guideline because it makes their work much easier.
Tougher.
for the judges and the judiciary,
Yeah.
and one portion of the judiciary in the form of legal business will get stopped, definitely. And one set of lawyers will also suffer because their business will be hampered. So I foresee certain challenges in the near future, maybe 1.5 years, 2 years from now. People will be maybe challenging this and reviewing it in the high courts. But we are confident that most of the guidelines will still remain in place and they will not be able to negate it.
If this guidelines become enforceable at Supreme Court, then the whole country will be following that. So it won't be a change, right? How do you see that?
These guidelines cannot be enforced by in the Supreme Court.
No, I'm saying that if you want to file a PI in Supreme Court and enforce it over there.
Yeah. So we are just waiting, instead of filing the PIL right now in the Supreme Court, we are waiting for the GOI to frame the guidelines for Karnataka. That makes our work much easier and much faster. Once it's done, we will say, look, the central has come out with these guidelines for this state. So why don't you circulate it to the other high courts? Let them work about it. If they want to make some local changes, let them make it and let them accept it as a rule. But what we want is a rule. See, Calcutta High Court has already the rule, but the Karnataka High Court, the PIL that the Karnataka High Court Suomoto had made, by the then Chief Justice had actually filed this PIL where we are interpreting into it. It did not. They ignored that concept of the rule because he didn't actually, I think, didn't want to shoulder the burden of making the rules themselves, the judiciary. So that part was missing. So we've come out with this and we've pleaded very strongly in that Karnataka High Court that makes no sense making guidelines only. It's just like wearing ornaments. Like you are wearing ornaments and all, but it has no other value unless you make it a rule, right? So only if you can rule as the subject matter to today's discussion, unless you make it a rule, will not be able to, at least from the legal angle, try to checkmate that parental alienation and mitigate it. You will not be able to stop it 100%, but at least 70 to 80% of alienation can stop if this guideline is followed.
What if, now people are not following anyway, but if they don't, if the parent doesn't follow the rule now, what will be the implication of that of the
implication
parent?
If somebody is not, if some trial courts are not following the rules, I'm sure that their judgments and orders will get overturned in the High Court, because High Court cannot ignore their own rules, right?
No, I'm dealing with the parents who doesn't follow the rules.
That's what I'm saying.
Custodial parent.
Yes, I'm saying that there's direct provisions over there for contempts, and if you are making contempts, we have suggested the 3 or 4 steps. If you go to page I think 5 or 7 of the guidelines, you will find it. So there are 4 options given in the guidelines. One is you impose prohibitive costs on the other party. You change the custody in cases where the non-compliance is too high, and you also make sure that in actually what happens in India also, there has been change in custody many cases. And recently also in one of our members, a very interesting case had happened in Delhi High Court, where he got a transfer of custody of 2 of his sons, including one daughter of very small age, I think 5 years of age. So thing is that it is being done, but it is not being done so fast. So we have specific provisions in the guidelines. So if somebody, as you said, is not following the orders, they can fall back on the guidelines, definitely.
So you have given the clause also over there. If it has not been followed, what is the next?
Yes. Specific, I'll just share with you. It's a page. If somebody goes to the guidelines, they're available in the High Court website. In page 5 and page 6 deals with that. So we have said awarding compensatory or access for the loss of visitation days. We have said imposing heavy fines or costs. Next, we have said directing the alienating parent to undergo counseling. And the last is in extreme cases, shifting of the custody. So we have specific provision in the guidelines.
Any rule of having a video recording for the parent while doing visitation, which can be a monetary help for them?
No, there's no provisions given in the guidelines, but there is no bar. The law doesn't bar you to videotape your visitations. You can always do that. I think a lot of people also do it.
Do it, okay.
To keep proof, of things, and to safeguard from false allegations that the other party can come into bring into it. There's always there. So I don't think there is the need for any guidelines on that, because thing is that it's a discretion on the parties who are doing the visitations. So it depends on individual to individual preferences and cases.
One person is asking
Yes.
DL in Rajasthan. What is the
Yeah,
status?
we are welcome. We are welcome. Abhinav, I know him, so he can connect with me. We are always there to help. Anybody willing to do this, we'll help. We'll be a partner to this.
Yeah. So audience can ask question.
You
I'm
see now,
Santosh, like, yeah, there is work going on. You can just take our numbers. I'm just taking my number. You can message me and we'll add in the group also.
and the other part is that regarding the guidelines, why this guideline is different from the guideline that is already there, apart from being the mandatory one here and the other being recommendatory. This guideline is more exhaustive. If somebody has read through this, I would recommend everybody because everybody is having their cases and everybody is having some issues regarding custodies here. You should go through this guideline. So, and this is an 82-page guideline. And the other very important point where it addresses the parental alienation aspect is we have said it is mandatory to file a parenting plan. Okay. And to give a custody affidavit also in the court.
What is the parenting firm, sir?
The parenting plan is that how you wish to parent your son
Parenting plan, yeah.
or your daughter.
Understood.
So this
So given the
parenting,
annex there is there, yeah.
yes, so that's parenting plan. We have said that it is mandatory. It is compulsory to be given if you are filing a custody matter. The other part we've said where to minimize the and or to offshoot the evils of parental alienation, we have also said that the first interim visitation or access needs to be given within 60 days of filing a case.
That is
So
true. That is very important.
so this can come, into place slowly. You will not get the changes right now. The changes will come over the years. Maybe for 2 years you will have to wait. Because when we are asking for visitations to be made within 2 months, we will also have to appreciate that we stay in a country which is a populous country. Although we blame the judiciary that it takes time in giving dates, they are not at fault. If you study through the ratio of judges to the ratio of litigants, then you will find it. If you had been made a judge, you would also be very difficult in advocating so many cases. And in many courts, not only family courts, the district courts are burdened with these family matters. There are not enough family courts throughout the country. There are many states which do not have more than 1 or 2 or 3 family courts. States, for example, for where I come from, West Bengal, having so many districts, I think 28 districts, they have only 7 family courts. So how do you expect family matters to be adjudicated? Right? We do not take these into account. So the guidelines to be made effective, you need infrastructural help from the government. You need the proactive help from the judiciary. You need assistance from the lawyers. They should not always try to find ways of making money by going for settlements and without ignoring the child, as somebody had said, as we also say that we are the voice for the voiceless. We talk here for the child. We do not represent the fathers or represent the mothers. We are here just for the child. So we have a lot of alienating mothers also coming to us. We have a lot of alienating fathers also coming to us. Yes, the problem is skewed and lopsided. Maybe 80% is against the fathers, 20% is the mothers, but this is how it is. So we do not differentiate who's coming to us. That is the first and most important message I want to say across. The second, I would like to say that if you want to eliminate parental alienation and fight for your child, which I believe everybody is here, at least here, everybody is concerned with the child. That is why they have joined this webinar also. Then I would say that forget whatever grudge you have with the other parent. That is a different story. You fight it out different way. But when you're going for the child and you're trying to retrieve your child and trying to save the child, I would say, from the mental trauma, etc., then you should forget everything and then fight for the child. That's the only way out because the child always gets natural vibes. You are a doctor, she's a psychologist, she will understand what I'm saying, you will understand what I'm saying. These natural vibes come from within you. The child understands how sincere you are towards him or her by the vibes that come out through your emotions. So the natural vibes can only come out if you can share your grievance and your grudge towards the other parent, right? So it is very, I know it's very difficult, but that is how you'll have to work to that. I have done in my life work to that, and that is how you have to do this. Right.
One more thing, what interesting, what I saw the guidelines, I'll get to the whole thing. Not somehow, you have made a point that this is a psychological issue, a borderline issue. This point from the judiciary is quite strong.
Yes.
So how do they convince them, sir?
You do not need to consume them. Most of the judges know.
Okay.
They do not try to address the issue because it will take too much time from them. Because first of all, they will have, see, the problem is all the courts, they do not have any panel of qualified psychologists with them.
Yeah.
So when they're interviewing the child or calling the child to the courts, the judge themselves is speaking to them. The judge is not qualified nor it's capable of understanding what is going in the mind of the child. So you need psychologists for that. So based on these guidelines, we are also writing to the Supreme Court to, frame some, legal framework or something into the judicial system by which judiciary should have a panel of the psychologists or the counselors or the psychotherapists or the family therapists, because depending on the nature and the extent of the parental alienation or whatever psychological this thing that the child is facing, he or the child has to be taken to them. I mean, the counselor's job is not the same as job of psychologist. The psychologist job is not the same as the psychiatrist, and also the family therapist's job is not the same as a counselor. So there, now who will decide that? The
Yeah.
judge is not qualified to decide it. So you should have a panel of a psychologist or a minimum therapist inside the court who will say that this child needs to be interviewed by him. This child needs to be interviewed by him or her. Right? It depends on trying to understand the extent of the psychological imbalance in the child, which is very complicated. And this is not the work of the judges.
But how
So
will
that
judge
is
take
why,
it? Because you are taking the power out of them, no? How will they welcome
no,
that?
this is not a way. Actually, we are not taking the power out of anybody. Actually, because that is why we have put in separate, chapters, chapter 6 and chapter 7, particularly dealing with this only. If you have gone to, I think you have gone to the guidelines. So many discussions have been made over there because of this only, because we are not taking the power of the judges. We are saying that you refer to somebody who will be adequately qualified to access the mental health of the child. They are not supposed to access whether they are not going to supposed to tell the judge that the custody should go to him or her or shared parenting, etc.
You have
And
mentioned
also
very clearly over there. Don't judge that part. Yeah.
Right. And we are also saying that is by default, if you do not find any parent abusive, then go for shared parenting from the very beginning. That is there in the guidelines itself. That is what we are listening, giving trust on the shared parenting itself. Unless you find someone, abusive. And that is where the child custody affidavit is coming into place. Because there was a debate in the rule-making committee between us and the panel over there as to what is the necessity for the affidavit. And also there are some people who had been asking me that why this affidavit has been put, why when there is also already an affidavit in registration Neha. They are mistaking this affidavit as relating it to maintenance, but that is not the case. That affidavit clearly, if you go through the affidavit, if you file the affidavit, that affidavit clearly will tell you what role you had played when the child was with you, what role the other party played when the child was with you, and what role you both are playing now that the child is with somebody else. So the judge has a fair idea of what you were actually doing for the child. See that the judge needs materials. You just can't come to the judge and tell him, I've done this, I did for the child when he was this. Where are the proofs? So you need that will delay the cases. So we have said that the child affidavit should be also compulsory filed in custody cases always. So there also, those loopholes are plugged. So
we expect those things when you are plugged it also.
Yes, we have we have filed multiple of cases in Bengal already within 1 month, because the courts were closed for pujas. We have long holidays in the pujas, so just in November it has opened, and we have already filed around 7-8 cases in different courts in the city. So, and therefore we hope that we have put in a team. As I said, we put in a team to monitor this, and
who is the team, sir?
See, we have a team. We have a team from people who are doing PhDs and law interns, because they have access to the courts, right?
Okay, understood. All volunteers.
Yes. No, volunteers. We are paid. We are paid.
Okay.
We are paying them, and we are asking people to help us on this. We've made a project report also. We are now also going back. We believe that the corporates will help us in this. So we are reaching out to the corporates for funding, because you need funds if you want to make this movement. Because without funding, you'll understand, no cause can go without a fund. The fund is not needed for us, but the fund is needed for the cause, for to employ good people, qualified people to do qualified jobs. So we need, so at the ground level. So we are trying to do this, right? We are going to come out with a project report very soon. It's in process. And with that, we will be able to assess, how the guideline is being followed or not. So if it's not followed by most of the trial courts, if we find that there's some difficulties, we have to identify which are the areas of difficulties, because no work is perfect. So there might be imperfections in our guidelines also. So those have to be, identified. And then if for some reason we find that there's no adequate reason, but the courts are not following the guidelines, we have every right. It's open for us to go to the Chief Justice again and say that, see, look, this is your own guideline. They are not following it. Now you please tell them. So they will issue another reminder or another circular to them.
Or should there be any training for them? All the trial courts being trained on the new
Yes,
guidelines.
of course, because in that sense, they need to be acquainted with the guidelines. Now,
Yeah.
no judge, I believe, will have time to read through the 82 pages.
Yeah.
So they should have to have a half an hour or 1 hour session somewhere where we have to address them, that the summary of the points of we are making PowerPoint presentations now on different chapters. So that will help us to address this to a lot of
So
people.
Ayushman is doing that now, sir?
Yeah, we're doing it. So we are preparing these slides now, and we are also going to go to the, the psychiatrists also. We are going to, because we have to explain to them what is actually required. And what this guideline says. And we'll also have to have inputs from them, because we are also taking, critical analysis of the guidelines. For example, two of the lawyers have given us some critical analysis of the guideline. We are approaching psychiatrists to give us critical analysis of the chapters of the forms of the counseling that is there in the guideline, to make it better. So we can always come back and review it and make better guidelines also later on.
Because now, after my lecture, a psychiatrist or psychiatrists or the pediatricians, they are considering this as a part of their own arena, this child abuse and neglect.
Yes.
They are shocked.
Correct. Not only that, it will help us in the cause also. If these people can take these things up, then, in the long run, and go to the ground level and, approach the students, or the most important, the parents of the schools. There was a discussion in the schools. We were also trying to actually having an idea of filing PIL in the courts or in the Supreme Court directly for the schools, because as I wrote also here, that the schools actually they are very insensitive to this issue. And the schools do not actually assist the alienating parent at all, and do not encourage them at all. We are seeing this irrespective of the brand of the school, irrespective of the state, irrespective of the district, irrespective of the village from where it is, from a very small school to a very large institution, all are having the same attitude.
How
it is very strange.
That?
We are trying to do something about it. Let us see. We've tied up with an organization called the Early Childhood Association in Mumbai. They have some private guidelines, but unfortunately,
I've seen that.
But unfortunately, part of it, their own members are flouting this. Those who have made this, are themselves flouting this. I know many of them personally. So what happens? What the awkward thing we are facing is, we sit together, maybe side by side in a meeting or in a conference, having tea, etc. We go to the same function. The moment I pick up this subject and ask them, ma'am, why don't you give your auditorium? We'll go and speak.
That won't be what will happen.
No, the friendship is there, but the coldness comes in.
Hypocrisy is.
Yeah. So
what about having a special child court for this kind of things? A child court or a child independent lawyers? What is the stake in that?
Child independent law is already there in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Right. So now, for the child independent lawyer to help the child, they have to be sensitized with what we are speaking. So I don't know how many of them are sensitized with what we are speaking and saying, because I do not see any transformation in the outcome of the cases. Even after this child independent lawyer has come out in Mumbai, there has not been very much any improvement in the outcome of the cases.
We are also working in an angle of bringing into the child abuse into a POCSO or Juvenile Justice Act. What is your view in that?
You see, it will not come under POCSO. It can only come under JJ Act, right?
Yeah.
But JJ Act 75, as I told you that day, I think 4 or 5 years back, a comprehensive meeting was held, where Zian also knows Dr. Rakesh Kapoor. He was there in that meeting, and they have turned it down. Now they have turned it down because, that section 75 of the Act, the consequence is very extreme. It means you have to put somebody back in jail. So the universal thought process of everyone is you should not put any parent to jail. When you're thinking about the welfare of a child, you cannot put their father or a mother to jail. So that is why they have put their foot down. But
Okay.
even without including this JJ Act, you can do a lot of things. Like if you can recognize this as abuse, as a punishment, you can always change the custody, or you can change the temporary custody of the child. This backbone the judges do not have, right?
Okay.
Yes, I believe the judges are not having this backbone. I don't know why. Well, if you can ask me why, I don't know. It is nothing to do with biasness, nothing to do with feminism. It's nothing to do with weakness for women. It is just they do not have this inclination to put their foot down. Because if I just tell you that the judges are biased, I have hundreds and hundreds of cases where mothers are facing the same thing and mothers are getting the same type of orders, that 1 or 2 hour visitations a month. So how I can say that the judge is biased towards us only, right? That is my contention. So there is something else which nobody is actually probing into. We need to probe into the judiciary to find out there must be some sort of a direction from the up.
Not to do this
And
way.
yes, that is, and what my personal belief is that because they have to have the legal business to continue. If I give you your relief in 1 or 2,
Then
months,
gone. Everything
so
is
you are
over.
not going to come back to me. So if you're not come back to me, how will the judiciary survive?
Understood.
Right. So at least 30% or 35% of the revenue of the legal profession comes from matrimonial cases and filing false cases, of course. Right.
Understood.
Yes. So that is where the problem is. Nobody will own up. Even if you ask somebody, they will not own up.
Understood. So, I mean, there's one person who has asked question. I think Santosh, you can ask question. You can ask.
Yeah, sir. Good evening, sir.
Adi.
Sir, as you said, like the same guidelines, right? The guidelines,
खबर
whatever.
पढ़े देबे
बोलिए.
Can someone
अरे
mute
এটা
them?
খাচ্ছি আমি খাবার দিয়ে দিচ্ছি আমি বলেছি খাবার দিতে
You can ask no, sir. Someone.
Yeah. So the same guidelines, can we start asking them to amend in other high courts? I'm interested to do that in Chennai. So
Chennai, we actually talking. Are you there in that group? You can share your number to me. Then I can put you in that group. We're already talking in Chennai, and there are a lot of people over there who we are working with. So Chennai will come up very fast with this. At least this filing of this PIL. Probably by January. So if you're interested, you can share your number to me. I'll put you in that group, that Chennai PIL group.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Sure.
So to Supreme Court, like, are you tracking it, sir? Like,
No, as I said, the Supreme Court, we are waiting for the government of India to come out with the guideline.
oh, that is going to
So
happen.
Yes,
very slow pace.
we are already working with the government of India, and we met the joint secretary last week. We were in Delhi, and they have the guidelines with them, and they have we have volunteered help to them pro bono basis also to help them framing these guidelines, because that will save them a lot of time. Now they have formed a committee. That committee has around 10 to 11 people. Okay. So they are working on this, and if that guideline comes out, it makes sense to move to the Supreme Court after that.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, what's the role of a psychologist currently in the Calcutta guidelines or a psychiatrist?
The psychologists are very good role to play. In fact, I met the psychologist, some association over there also, the one which is recognized by the government. Now, we have said that Mr. Nagananda, you can take the number, you can put it in the chat box. He will share the number, or Dr. Prabhu will share the number. If you just put it in the chat box, he wants, I think, the number of somebody for the Rajasthan PI. So now you see, the psychologists have a very good role to play, because that will only make the guidelines more effective. So we are trying, as I said, we are trying now. Next step would be to form a panel in the high courts, right, of counselors, psychologists, and psychiatrists.
But it is happening in Kolkata.
No, you just have to start from now.
Okay.
It has not happened, it will start from, that is the next step, which we have to do, right?
Understood.
So once this is done, the psychologists definitely have a very big role to play here.
Understood. Understood. Any questions for Ankhee, audience? You crossed a lot of time.
In fact, I would like your association to write to the Chief Justice of Chennai. Since you're there,
Yeah.
just recommend, just put in a appeal that if they are not, if they are open to forming this sort of a panel, right, to assist
Understood.
to assist the family courts and also to the High Court also.
Yeah. Now we have formed a small team with pediatricians, and there is upcoming talk with child psychiatry HOD.
Yeah.
And hopefully we form a team, and I'll be involving you as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Anyone.
So then it'll be a medically oriented issue, so people
Yes.
will be able to listen there.
Yes. Absolutely.
There is one person, Mr. Kumar, who wants to talk. Mr. Kumar, you can unmute and talk.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Sir, I just want to know, like, what about the Telangana High Court and the family courts? How they will consider these Calcutta guidelines? And one more
They
question
are not
is,
right. They are not bound by these guidelines.
yeah, just how to convince the courts? My question is how
We'll
to
have to convince them that this has a persuasive value, and they have already, one High Court has already adopted this as rules, so it has some sort of a importance and a standing, and preferably this should be taken into consideration while deciding the case. Right now, only this much you can do.
Okay. And one more question, sir. I heard that there is one High Court judge, Mausami Bhattacharya. She is a High Court judge.
He is now in Telangana, I think.
Yeah, she's in Telangana.
Yes.
She is a South Indian, some family chairperson for the family courts. So, is there any possibility that we can file a bill in Telangana court?
We are trying to do this. We are in process.
Okay, sir.
I think by January it will be filed.
Okay, sir.
I think if there are no questions, then we'll be able to close it.
Yes, we have our website. So if anybody wants to have some questions, you can go to our website, or you can pass it to Dr. Prabhu also. We are in touch with him every day, so we can get back to you on the guidelines if you want.
Sir, the voice got stuck, sir. Can you please repeat the email
I'm
ID?
saying that our website is available. It's www.aifcr.org.in. So we have our helpline number, .org.in. So we have our helpline also there, and otherwise Dr. Prabhu is also there, and also Mrs. Gupta is also there. In fact, Mrs. Gupta has helped us a lot in the cause. She's also one of takes sessions for a lot of people of us for counseling, etc. And she attends our workshops also pro bono, in fact. And so we are all there to help. So I don't think it's very difficult to get in touch with anybody. All are interlinked with each other. So in the cause, so you will always get our help. Everybody's help, in fact.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है मुझे
हाँ.
मुझे
Yes,
ये
sir.
पूछना था मेरा नाम तेजस है आई एम फ्रॉम मुंबई एंड आई हैव जस्ट वन क्वेश्चन दैट for any of this kind of cases do we have lawyers or advocate who can guide us from the beginning and take up our cases, because as you are saying most of the revenue comes from this matrimonial cases and all. Is it not a good idea, or I'm not sure whether do we have that or not, but is it not a good idea to have at least 4-5 nice lawyers who can have all
Yes.
these kind of cases only?
Yes, it is a good idea. We'll think about it, because we do not have in all the states. We have in few states now. So we will see. Because but I think that Mumbai is very strong. Mumbai is a good court, good High Court.
Sir, बात ये है कि I'm in Mumbai, but my case is in Bangalore, and every 15 days, twice.
So Bangalore, you can get in touch. We have our own office in Bangalore itself. You can share your number. You can take the number from Dr. Prabhu.
अरे सर आप मुझे भूल गए लगता है, मैं वही तेजस हूँ जो
वो तो
जेपी नगर
मालूम
में
है.
रहता हूँ.
वो तो अब तो मिलता ही नहीं है.
मैं कल ही मुझे बार बार ये लोग बुलाते हैं, हर महीने में 2-3 बार बुलाते हैं. और
So I'll be there on December 4th. If you are there at that time, we can meet. I don't know whether you will be there.
हाँ, मैं 5th से 10th तक हूँ और 3rd को भी आ रहा हूँ, तो मैं कैसे आ पाऊंगा कि क्या, मुझे पता नहीं। मुझे और एक क्वेश्चन ये है कि आप कुछ सजेस्ट कीजिए। मैंने एक पेन ड्राइव, एविडेंस का पेन ड्राइव मैंने जज को
हाँ
दिया है, बट
हाँ
देन आई कुड नॉट गिव इट दैट पेन ड्राइव, और आई कुड नॉट सर्व दैट पेन ड्राइव टू पिटिशनर इन क्रिमिनल मिसलेनियस केस। तो जज ने मुझे बोला कि भाई तुम पेन ड्राइव पिटिशनर को भी दो। अब मेरी जब नेक्स्ट डेट थी तब मैंने लाइटली लिया, आई एम सॉरी फॉर दैट, और मैंने वो पेन ड्राइव नहीं दी। तो मैंने वो पेन ड्राइव नहीं दी, तो उसने मेरे को दोबारा 3rd को बुलाया है और लिखा है ऑर्डर में कि आई एम सपोज टू सबमिट द पेन ड्राइव विदाउट फेल। तो अगर समझ लो कि मैं 3rd दिसंबर को ना जाऊं और मेरा एमसी केस 6 दिसंबर को कॉल्ड आउट हुआ है और 3rd को क्रिमिनल मिसलिनियस कॉल्ड आउट हुआ है, तो मैं 3rd को पेन ड्राइव ना सबमिट करके 6th को पेन ड्राइव सबमिट करने जाऊं, तो क्या एमसी केस और क्रिमिनल केस वो लोग साथ में ले लेंगे क्या? मेरे को
नहीं,
बहुत
साथ में नहीं
परेशानी
लेगा।
होती।
आई डोंट थिंक साथ में लेगा, साथ में नहीं लेगा।
तो 3rd को जाना ही पड़ेगा।
Yes. Otherwise that day will be wasted actually.
ठीक है। और मेरा और एक सजेशन है, मैं जस्ट 5 मिनट लूंगा, ऑल ऑफ अस, लाइक इज इट ओके इफ आई टेक 5 more minutes of all
That
of you?
that only Dr. Prabhu can say.
Dr. Prabhu, can I take 5 more minutes? I have a
Speaker's rulish. If speaker is fine, I'm fine with that. Thanks.
Sorry, what?
Please proceed. Please proceed.
अरिजीत जी, मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में बोलता हूँ ताकि मेरा फ्लुएंसी ज्यादा है हिंदी में। आप थोड़ा फिर बाद में अंग्रेजी में बता देना इन लोग को।
हाँ, बोलिए।
अरिजीत जी, जब हम शादी करते हैं तो शादी के मंडप में क्या होता है? एक पंडित होता है, एक अग्नि का कुंड रखा होता है, हस्बैंड वाइफ जो है वो 7 फेरे लेते हैं अग्नि के, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एज मैरिज, और एक सर्टिफिकेट आ जाता है, और साथ में माँ बाप होते हैं, रिश्तेदार होते हैं, बराबर है? ये शादी का सेटअप है। अब जब डिवोर्स होता है, या अगर हमको गुजराती में बोलते हैं कि छुट्टा पड़ना होता है या अलग अलग होना है, तो फिर हम कोर्ट में क्यों जाते हैं? तो क्या आयुष्मान ग्रुप या ऐसी कोई संस्था, जैसे ये एक कौन सी संस्था है, आर्य समाज संस्था जो है वो भी शादियां करवाती है, तो क्या कोई ऐसी संस्था नहीं है कि जब किसी को विथ रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस, ऑफ कोर्स विथ रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस, अगर किसी को डिवोर्स लेना है तो कोर्ट में ना जाकर ये उसी संस्था में आए जहां उनकी शादियां हुई थी, या वही माँ बाप या 3-4 वो क्या बोलते हैं, विटनेस, 3-4 विटनेस को या माँ बाप को या रिश्तेदार को लाकर रिश्तेदार के सामने वही पंडित को लेकर आए और वही अग्नि रखे, और 7 फेरे जो ऐसे लिए थे वो 7 फेरे उल्टे लेकर।
That is not there in our custom.
सुनिए तो सही। तो जैसे हम बोलते हैं कि चट मंगनी और पट बिहा जैसा है, वैसा ये तलाक का क्यों नहीं करवा सकते? जैसे कि मैं, आप सिर्फ सोचने वाली बात है, ये सिर्फ सोचने वाली, मैंने कुछ इसके ऊपर I have not done any further investigation or further thoughts into it, but what I'm trying to say is, why are we facing law and order for the divorce, and why are we not facing law and orders for the marriages? While we conduct the marriage, we do it in front of our family members, but when we get divorced, we have to do it all alone. Like me and my wife are fighting in the divorce case since last 10 years without in the presence of our parents. So all I'm trying to tell you is कि डिवोर्स लेने का कोई
This is a subject matter beyond this webinar, but I can answer you this. When you're making a custom and marrying, going into a marriage, you are entering into an unsigned, unwritten contract. So to nullify that contract, you will have to go to the judge, to the court. That is what the laws of the land says.
Sir, can I add a point here?
Please.
That is the reason, as counselors, I'll tell you, no matter, irrespective of you going to any counselor, pre-divorce stage में भी, if any one of the partner या तो घर के कोई भी member से ये चीज आती है कि you want to give things a last chance, ठीक है? तो that awareness, I think, is not there much. Pre-marital counseling जैसे हम लोग करते हैं शादी से पहले, वैसे ही divorce के पहले there are couples now who are coming up to us and seeing if it is repairable at any point. Now, if it is beyond repair, you can't enforce things on anyone, right? But if there are points where we can, आप एक्शन ले सकते हैं, आप उस चीज को लेके शायद सेकंड टाइम थिंक कर सकते हैं, कुछ ताड़े जो टूट गए उनको आप जोड़ सकते हैं. इफ यू कैन रियली वर्क ऑन दोज थिंग्स, देन यू नीड समवन हु इज वेरी न्यूट्रल एंड इज अ नेविगेटर. बट जैसे कि आपने कही, वही पंडित वही अग्नि, बस वही है ना, आपके सुख के दिन में सब है, दुख के दिन में कोई है नहीं. सो दैट इज द रीजन यू कांट गेट बैक टू द ओरिजिनल सेटअप टू टेक अ बिग डिसीजन.
नहीं, मैं तो कह रहा हूँ कि सोचने वाला मुद्दा है.
जी जी
आज
जी,
नहीं तो
जरूर. इफ
कल नहीं तो परसों नहीं
इम्प्लीमेंटेड
तो
नथिंग
नरसों.
लाइक इट, अगर ये चीज इम्प्लीमेंट हो जाती है तब तो बहुत अच्छी बात है.
जब शादी करवाने वाले लोग जो हमारे साथ होते हैं
हाँ
और
जी.
वो संस्था हमारे साथ होती है, तो अभी उसी संस्था को जाके मैं कन्फेस कर रहा हूँ कि भाई हमारी लाइफ जो है वो नहीं बढ़ रही है आगे, या हम नहीं कोप अप कर पा रहे, तो हमें कुछ करवा दो. ऐसे अभी शादी करवाने के लिए मंत्र है, तो शादी आई एम श्योर कहीं ना कहीं ये रावण के जमाने में या राम के जमाने में
Yes,
कहीं
sir.
ना कहीं तो ये
Moment.
शादी
See,
छोड़ने
ये
का
you understand,
मंत्र
you
होगा भी.
understand this. You understand the concern, but yeah, this is kind of a different issue. We understand that. Yeah.
I'm done.
Thanks.
I'm done.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhu.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ankhee Gupta, and thank you, sir. Wonderful
Thank you
discussion.
so much. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you, everyone.
everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Yes,
Thank you,
take care.
everyone. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Very good.